I want to
No.
go. Like I got a room. Like I made sure that my hotel room was not walkable distance from yours. Everybody over there.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
go to my hotel room. I don't need a ride. I can catch a lift. I can just do this.
Okay.
I want to go to my hotel and be alone. Okay, we drop you off. All right, I'm getting out now. Oh, well, I gotta take something upstairs. You don't have to take that upstairs. I need to be alone. Oh, Larry. Hey, what you want to do now? I said
Right.
I need to be by myself. I just need a couple. Just give me an hour or two. I
Gotcha.
need to be by myself. Like, please. So then
Right.
I had to fake like I fell asleep. And you know what happens when you fake like you go to sleep, right? Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Well, when you fake like you're going to sleep, you end up going to sleep. So I ended up falling asleep, but I didn't get no rest. I didn't get a chance to be in my head and process the moment and stew in it. So yeah. But I was like, man,
Uh-oh.
then it's
Hold
like,
on.
fine. Yep.
Hold on.
You good? Yeah, guys, it's like I'm talking to myself. And the man, myth, the legend, he's just showing himself
All
in the
right.
still. Welcome to BOL. What we're
Yes.
doing right now is
Yes. Be
we're reviewing my weekend at the border battle in
right.
Canada, and I was telling Nadine how the introvert Larry, the one that you guys probably don't know really exists, was screaming. He needed a moment. He needed to come out and take over and just because he was
Is it because
too much
oh
activity.
is
I
it
got
is it is it because the battle, or is it because of you just had enough people time? Like all right, I had enough people
yeah,
time.
it was just too much activity. It was too much because when you go to these things, it's big space. Everybody's close together. Everyone's
Right.
talking. Everyone's
Okay.
and then being the
Leaned
captain.
in, hey Larry.
Yeah, yeah, and then being the
Because
captain
it's
of a
loud.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being a captain of a team,
Right.
you're trying to focus on the game. And then we was playing split tables. We were doing
Okay.
two tables at the same time. So now I'm captaining on both on two tables,
Oh.
and at the same time, 8 players. Hey Cap, hey Cap, hey Cap. What's this? What's the score? What's going on? This and so it was just like, ah. I needed a reset. I needed some reset.
I got you.
And then I can be the other guy.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay. So you had a lot of people time. They were like, "Hey, Larry, what we doing? What we doing tonight? Or what you want to do? What we gonna do? We gonna hang out?" And you're like, "I'm going to the room." Okay. Oh, we going to Larry room. All of us going Larry room. It's Larry room time. Okay. And you were like, "No, no, no, no Larry room time. I need a little space. I need some time. I need to go. I need to breathe. I need to breathe a little bit."
I was like, I even had to say, hey, it's like, so what you want to do? If they say, oh, we want to go do this. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can go do that. What you gonna do, Larry? I want to do what I want to do.
Right.
I did. I planned and I had plans, but I planned to do something that I had wanted to do. Man. But
I mean, unless you, I can explain. Sometimes I think don't you have like those connections that you just like you can probably be around longer. Like those folks that just are that you connect with. Or do you ever have those? Like, do you have those people that like, yeah, they don't. I don't feel like they crowd my space like others, because there's people that crowd your space. They talk to you close. They hang close. They cool, but it's like you're a lot. You're a lot. They always like and it's like I need a minute. And maybe, they're like the opposite. They're like, I need people. I need to be by people. That's their
yeah.
energy.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So one observation I had made when I got back, I told because one person for sure
Okay.
I know, like I don't need to be by myself with is Carolyn, my wife. Right? I was like, yo, Carolyn, babe, I never felt this feeling around you at all. Like I'm cool being alone, like being this is two of us, and I'm good. But
Right.
then there, like you just, there are certain people in my circle that's not family that yeah, I can always be around.
Right.
And part of it is they 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 know me very well, and I guess I didn't, I just realized it just now. I know they'll protect me. They'll cover, like they'll protect me. They'll let me phase in and out. You know, they're like, okay,
Right.
it's just L Boog being L Boog. Or
Yeah.
now he just L. Or
Right.
now he's being Larry, right? So those people, yeah, it'd be like I'm good with, but yeah, it was just
Yeah.
this here.
Some people talk way too much. They just talk. Shh. Shh. It's quiet time.
But you see, there's people that can be around that talk a lot.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
can say talk. Yeah, I'll say talk a lot or do all the talking, and I can just sit there in their presence
And they're fine.
and we're good. I'm like, hey, go for it.
I got
I
you.
can I can I'll listen to you. I'll probably fade in and out, you know,
Right.
but I'll be here, and we G to the O D. So
You know what's so funny about spacing, and this is kind of like going into the collaboration thing, but and yes, guys, we talk about this a lot. I talk about collaboration a lot because there's a video I meant to share it with my guys because I literally like was trying to think about sharing it. You know how you do like live reactions to certain things. But the guy said some interesting stuff about, you know, the election and coming together and stuff like that. But I was talking to someone else that has an organization that brings folks together, and they were just sharing some of the struggle with um so he said not my problem. He said talking about a lot. um but his some of the struggle of trying to have people uh lay aside having to lead the agenda in favor of like a collaboration, like you have a piece that helps in building. We don't need all of it, but we just need some of what you have because you're great at that. Um, but be able to put all our names on something, if that makes sense. Like, you know, we're building something, you know, you don't have to, I know you're used to leading up certain things, but can you fall back enough to really build something that will help all of us for the greater good? You know, even
mm,
if it's just not just us, but those that are affected by this thing that we're building or discussing. Um, so because I've been on like I've scrolled through TikTok, and if anybody's like watching TikTok a lot, you know, of course, after this election, people trying to build like a kind of like I guess for lack of a better way of putting it, like a truth social that's like for black people. You know, not like, you know, just a black social media kind of thing. I guess that's the plan. So there's one guy that's doing one, and he's like, yo, they've been tagging me about this other lady doing it. And you know, he's like, Godspeed, this is what it's gonna take. And I'm thinking in my head, if you've already, because he's attempted it, you know, but he realized the magnitude of money he needs to actually get it run. He's like, it's gonna cost you like a minimum of 100,000 to really get this thing going. That's his thing. And I'm like, why not say in your video, like, hey, if you're open to collaboration, we can come together. You know, like somebody's can get whoever's got the name that's bigger or makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if they're like Larry Love is kind of picked up. Hey, let's push Brother Legacy to the side. Larry Love looks good. Let's go with that because that's in the search, that's what's coming up the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
yeah.
humble enough to, hey, that name is coming up the most. Let's go with that because that's going to further the mission even more. We put together, you know, my energy, your energy, you know, what I've learned, what you learned to build something greater, um, and not focus on just, you know, what will make me look good, you know. Um, and then I was thinking, because she was starting something, I'm like, this already, if you know, my brain went blank. Fan base, fan base. If you've never heard of fan base, it's a fairly new. I think he has had it like 5 years now. Social media app, and it's up and running, and it's, it's built differently. Nah, I don't think he is, because he looked like he working on his green screen. Fan base, he's a junior. I went blank. I don't know if Rod knows. Yeah, it's, streaming might get a little funky. So just let us know. You might have to go in, go out, try it. Just let me know. You just gonna go for it? We're just going for it. All right.
You're like, yeah, bring me in.
That's the green screen, everybody. That's the green in the screen.
Like, who cares? Look,
right.
You know it's a fake background. So today you
just
gonna see the movie.
You already know. Now you just know it's back there. Now you know.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Isaac Hayes Jr. Yes, I was like, Rod. I know my audience ain't big, but I was like, Rod may know. He started a social media app. It's probably been like 5 years now. He's raised money, like he's been doing campaign. Like, I think you can still buy into it. And I just think about, if you're just trying to find a space to discuss something particular, or trying to niche it out, why not collaborate? Like, if you've already started building something and someone else is building something, because I've seen it happen in Silicon Valley a lot. Like, well, I'm working on this piece, you're working on that piece. I'll bring my funding together, you bring your funding, and we'll just decide on whatever name is being searched the most. Like, whoever's name is just more of a mainstay, we go with that. More people want to be leaders instead of servant leaders, like that one guy. That one guy. But yeah, it definitely, I think that's the challenge. And I do, and listen, from the other point of view, I do understand the challenge of collapsing some of what I have in order to fit into another space, or collaborate with another space. Like, it would be challenging to just throw away the logo and Brothers of Legacy to collapse into something greater. I'm just saying, just like that. Someone asked, they're like, yeah, we can do it. And I'm like, yeah, we sounded good. I was like, yeah, but you have to get rid of Brothers of Legacy and that logo, and collapse into the brothers of building something, because we're trending the name. I was like, nah, yes, you gotta, but we can still do what you have dreamed of, get the center, but we gotta collab under one name, which is the challenge. And so that's some of what I wanted to talk about. Like, can you lay aside your ego enough to collaborate into an organization or with somebody else at the behest of what you've already created? And if you have, based on where you at, just kind of throwing this out there, because just watching some of the ideas, after the election and things like that, and not digging into that space so much, but just our ability to take what we have and build together. And, because of course, you get momentum, and you have to slow your momentum. You have to change, some of your wordings are going to be different. Some of your pieces of your agenda is going to be different. Like, we're not going, because you got to be like, well, we're not really going hard in this space. We want to focus more on that space. Like, I gotta cut down, like, my 10 commandments now become 4. You can use those 4 and you combine them with our 4. You're like, ooh, but I like them other 4 ones. Those, they make sense. They just make sense. Are you willing to do that? Speaking of collaborations, the man in the building, the man, the myth, the legend, Thomas Cotton. What up, sir?
Good morning. What's up? What's up?
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Thomas.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
Really morning for you.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Good early morning. Early morning.
it's early, but it's all good.
It's all good.
It's
Oh,
been a minute. Good to see
yes, sir.
y'all.
Yes, sir.
Life is lifing as usual.
Absolutely.
What's
Got
up,
the
Jeff?
book, got the classes coming out of the book. We got some great collaborations happening. Give us an update of what's going down.
So the book definitely the book has a curriculum to it now, and so we're really trying to push the evidence base behind the curriculum, and been doing that. Being here in Las Vegas, trying to set some roots here, and just normal stuff. Kids, kids, kids,
Right.
kids.
Kids.
Celebrated the 1 year anniversary a couple days ago. Yeah, that year went fast. I was in the car. Me and Erica were going down the street last night. I was like, I realized why that year went fast. And I was like, it's funny how time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been good though. I mean, it's nothing to complain. It's just life. It's just time. When the time switch here, the kids are just getting dropped off at the bus stop right now, and it's weird, but it's all good. I can't complain.
What's good to see you, man.
Yes.
Yeah, good to see y'all too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brian,
I just gotta say this one thing. Call 988. Call 988. If you're a Cowboys fan and you're suffering, call 988.
It's a problem when you don't know what's ailing you. Right?
Well, I don't think you know because you've been in it for a minute.
You say we know, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
We know.
It's funny because the other day when you said like I click on that stuff, I never responded to that. But so on my social media feed, I'm getting all these Cowboy like slams, like one after the other. And I'm like, they must know I laugh at this stuff because they just keep giving it to me. I don't click on it, I don't go searching for it, just fills my feed. Like, and it must be out there a lot because it's almost like talking about the presidency, how much the suffering. But listen, I will say this tells you how solid of a man Brian is.
Right.
He's loyal.
Right.
Loyal. Just
loyal.
Solid man. Like, if you ever have any questions about if someone tries to question your loyalty ever, you just tell them, look, man, I'm a Cowboys fan.
I realize
they'll understand.
That's what you put on your resume. And achievements. I am a Cowboys fan. Oh wow.
Right. Wow.
And then you got to put since 19.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. This brother gonna stick around.
You can
take the bad with the good, man.
You can probably get
Economist.
What's up? How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
I been MIA. Feels like it's been forever.
Forever.
It's funny because I was about to start doing something and looked at my phone. And I was like, oh, they on now. I could do this.
Well, the 8 o'clock, the 8 o'clock, 5 a.m. your time didn't work for you, man.
Oh man. No, but I was actually at that time I'm up, but it's getting boys ready, get to the bus, and, helping them understand what it means to comb your hair.
That's it. That's it. It's not right there. Just understand. Just comb your hair. We're gonna work. Just comb the hair first. We're just gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that.
But I just comb your hair.
Reminded me of inside. I think it was inside the NBA. I think it was Kendrick Perkins talking to Richard Jefferson, and they were debating about a basketball game, and Richard Jefferson said, "No, we're splitting hairs now." And Kendrick Person said, "You're not splitting hairs." For those of you who don't know, Richard Jefferson's head looks like this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So combing hair is not an issue for me.
Well, it's so interesting growing up. We didn't have that problem. We walk outside, people will let us know. They would instantly let us know,
Right.
like, what's wrong with your outfit, what's wrong with your hair, what's wrong with your breath, everything. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Your armpit stank. You would walk outside and instantly get a reality check.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, all that's accepted as reality. It's like,
Yes. Because for a minute, like,
So-
I'd be on top of my son to hey, dude, make sure you're looking like and put this. Man, why you looking so? Then I drop him off at school. I look around like, he just
got it.
matching with these other folks.
Look,
Right.
unkempt is the norm.
Right. Yes. I still comb my hair, but now it's with, oh gosh. He said, I still comb my hair, but now it's with the wet wash.
Jeff, we understand. We still got to keep it up. Hey, John. Yeah, it's crazy to look around at a middle school, high school now and just see the standard. There is none. I mean, I guess you can find, some people kind of navigating that world still, but
Yeah.
it's like who's going to be the
So
fastest to the bottom?
Right there. Did you look in the mirror before you?
Yeah, it's a race to the bottom. Absolutely.
Yeah, that race to the bottom is something, and it's real, and that's what we got to deal with and fight against. Is not that there's no opportunities out there. It's just everybody's racing to the bottom.
Right. I will say there are moments that my son is putting something together. I'm like, oh snap! Did you just match that? Did you put
All
it
right,
out?
so when it comes to clothes, we have one that will dress, right? But there's just everybody. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they care anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's yeah. What we see as a norm was always like there was always the outlier that they come to school like I don't care. You can clown them, I don't care. I said racist around the war cry on Baltimore schools.
Yeah, we'll do something about that. You see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jeff. John and I did meet and trying to get on schedule again to connect again.
Nice.
So be nice. Yeah, but we did. Great guy, honestly. It's cool to meet someone in person. You see them online and then you finally meet them in person and they match.
Right.
Cool.
Find out people like 7 feet tall. You're like, wait a minute, they weren't.
Yeah, I ain't 7 feet tall though.
Hey,
but I know that feeling because when you met me, you were like, "Oh wow, I didn't know you're that tall." When I met Chris, I was like, "Oh man, I didn't know you're that tall."
Right. Oh man, right. Especially Chris. It's like, dang. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So today I was kind of talking about laying aside ego to collaborate. And as I was talking before other guys came in, are you willing to collapse some of your vision or agenda in order to fit into a greater scheme or bigger plan? And so I was like, even to the point, and this would be more like to you, Thomas, I know, and Larry too. And I'm sure Brian got his goals and things that he's working on, like collapsing even your name, like not your personal name, but your business name, or the name that you felt like you woke up one morning. This is the name. You have your logo, you got your stuff, and then there's a greater plan or greater scheme to connect with, and they're like, to collapse into this. Of course, you got to give up your name. He said when we met, Thomas didn't know.
That's not the truth. Absolutely knew. I didn't, but you know what? When I saw him, it was like, hey, I didn't pay attention. Doesn't matter.
He said my name is
and
put me in their garden. Go ahead.
just in response to that, I think that it's easy to get caught up in the name. I think it was Rod who said it earlier that oftentimes we get caught up in being leaders and not servant leaders. Sometimes we're caught up in the positioning and not the work.
Right.
In my experience, I have found that when you have put work and effort and passion into a name, I think it's all about perspective. Are you looking to create legacy with the name, or are you looking to create legacy with the work? Right? If the legacy is in the name, then it's going to be challenging to remove that, to separate yourself from that. In my experience, I've been presented with an opportunity to collapse into something bigger, and I think that it was a bigger problem for the people that were following me than it was for me. Right? Vision has consequences when you're dealing with people who are following you. You have to make sure that they're following the vision and not just following you. Right? Because a lot of times people can get caught up and they take more pride in the name than what you do. And you start talking about changing names, and folks start thinking about all the marketing and work they put into all that kind of stuff, and the t-shirts they make.
I made all these flyers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they take pride in that. So I think it's really, really important to if you're passionate about the work, I don't think it really matters what name is on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just like I said, it's the challenge of just giving it up. Like you said, even just the logos and the flyers and the how you do stuff and how you've always done it. This is how we always done it. And collapsing into something, especially if you're like, for lack of a better way of putting it, like you're the minority coming into something like this, the name or whatever they're doing, it might be slightly bigger, like might be slightly more known, but they would love for you to be a part because either your resources or your ability to do whatever that they may lack. But like I said, you're collapsing into them because either they may have more funding, larger name, and giving up, what you've always had and done, and kind of like, I guess, like semi-retiring it. For most part, I'm gonna put it to the side just in case this doesn't work out.
Listen. There's an emotional, mental, psychological attachment to it. With what because of the work that you put into it. I mean, my logo. I was sitting at a dining room table. Me and my son created my logo. Right. So there's a lot to be said about that. I realize a lot of us won't have books written about us. So what's the real goal? And you have to constantly remind yourself of those types of things. What is the real legacy? I think that it's more important for me that the people closest to me remember my work.
True. So you guys.
So one of the things about that too is it's hard to separate yourself from the work and who you are.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times we forget that who we are doesn't change because maybe the name changes, maybe the logo changes. I'm still the same person. I'm still able to do the same work. If it's always been about the work, then not building you as a person, but you're able to come into it knowing that, listen, I know who I am. I know why I'm doing this. I'll give an example. I mean, I have a lot of examples, but the biggest example is I planted a church, and when I planted the church started off with one name and it switched to another name and a merger. And in the merger, I didn't have to be lead pastor. I didn't have to say I need to lead this, but the work had to continue on.
Right.
And the community that I wanted to serve in was getting served. The people that I wanted to reach and make sure that they understood what love looked like versus going to a church and being judged for, coming in and not looking like everybody. that was being accomplished. There's so many things being accomplished, and even to the point where when we needed to look for a senior pastor, and I was stepping away, I can look back now. Here it is, 2025. I mean, almost 2025.
Right.
This church started in 2013, and it's
Wow.
still thriving. And I'm sitting right here in Las Vegas with something that's still thriving because it was always about the work.
Right.
It was never about me building a legacy through building who I am and hey, look at me. It was through the legacy is what's going to happen in this community because I was there, because I took a step to say yes. And sometimes, you know, it's not going to be easy to do stuff. And this is where, when I think about leadership, this is where leadership comes into play, because leadership isn't always easy. A lot of times we think leadership, you know, ooh, look at them leading. Leadership's not always easy. I planted a church in a hood, you know, and when you start a church in a place that the income is, you know, below the poverty level, you're not expecting people to come to the church and give. They'll give what they can, they'll do what they can, but you're really expecting relationship with people. And so when it comes to what's your expectations when you're going into these, your ego, are you
Right.
expecting to build who you are and look at me and look what I've done? Or are you expecting to build something that honors the reason why you did it? Like, God, you call me to this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll say, God, you called me to this. And what will happen is, instead of doing what you're called to do, you'll expand it to, well, look what I'm doing. And so there's a lot of things that I can keep going through, but a lot of times if you're going into it because this is what I'm called to do, this is my work, great.
Right.
Now, you also have to be careful, because that could be the reason why you're going into it. And if it blows up, then you start feeling a certain kind of way, especially if you've never been in that position before. You know, when I was selling drugs back in the day, when I was young, and I'm not a kid anymore,
Slinging
But,
them rocks.
you know, I thought, man, I'm gonna rule the world, because I was getting paid. Right. I didn't know how to handle that kind of power up front, you know, and it got to my head, and I started getting arrogant with it. And so, you know, I have some ways of looking back and saying to myself how to check that ego, because I've been in this space before. But a lot of times we all have to get to that space where, you know, we start to feel it a little bit, maybe, and have a way of having accountability to reel it back in.
Absolutely. So Larry, how do you feel like, even with your photo booths, you found somebody bigger? Would there be a willingness, or how would you feel about collapsing the name, collapsing into a greater project or a greater space?
Oh,
And sometimes it's not like a huge difference, but it's a small. They have a somewhat of a bigger step, you know. Because I it's easier to be like, you know, my little bit collapsing into $1 million spot, you know, like it's almost like, you know, that looks more delightful. But someone just a tad bit bigger, that has a little bit more reach, they may have more of a little bit more of a machine or a process to something, collapsing into that, and subsequently giving up your name. How would that feel or look like for you if that was a thing?
well, to quote or misquote something that Kaneem would say, okay, if I'm still getting paid, I'm all in. Nah, I had to do a little slower.
It's the laugh. It's the laugh for me.
But no, I would not have a problem, because I already have been looking for opportunities where I welcome collaboration, and one thing that I do offer to other photo booth owners, and something and there's a name they give it, but I in the business, but where, let's say they had they were double booked for an event or something like that. But and they needed somebody that they had access to be out there. I would go and I would actually wear their regalia. I would not wear my Papa Rod T. Booth shirt. I would wear one of their shirts. I would represent their company,
Nice.
and do it my way, right? I'll still, you know, and also on the flip side, like if I have something, I would do the same. And I what I do is now I have a big, really huge event coming up next year that I'll be I'll be a part of, and I can't do it by myself. And I reach out to other photo booth owners and like, hey guys, I got this coming up. I need you and your gear to meet up. You know, I got some stuff, and I also have other events that I can go ahead and have you do. You know, you can do it under my name, or you can just do it on your own. And so with me, I have no problem doing that, and I'm really open to it. But it seems like other people, they're just like they don't I guess it's their ego, or
they don't want you doing it in your name,
or you know what, they feel like you're digging into their pockets, and I'm like, dude,
you might steal their clientele.
Yeah, that's like, nah,
it's a real thing.
It's a real thing, but you know what?
I got this event every year. I don't need you coming in
to get to that next level, man. You got to be able to work together, to collaborate, man.
You know, it's interesting. Because
I
don't know if this has
like your example you've given, you're starting to go into, right? At a certain point, you weren't the one out on the street, right? You was able to get other people. Because if you went on the street all the time, it wasn't going to work out. Right.
But you can still do the same things. It's just you got to be able to point to other people and lead. Like you said, I'll wear someone else's shirt. Sometimes you just, hey, is it about the work or is it about me? Like, am I trying to get people, using church as an example, am I trying to get people to this building, or am I trying to get them to Jesus? You know, it's a difference.
It's building and Jesus. It's building and Jesus.
Yeah, sometimes
I said I had a dream. I had a dream once, and I was walking up the stairs to this church in my dream, and I walked through the front doors of the church, through the foyer, through the front doors, the double doors, and walked through the sanctuary, walked past the pulpit, out the back door, through the hallway, down past all the classrooms, through the fellowship hall, out the back door, and the Lord said, "How many times did you see the pastor?" I saw him over here. I saw his picture over here. And then the Lord said, "How many times did you see Jesus?" I'm like, oh!
Yeah.
And the challenge is, who are you really following? Right. And in most cases, when we get frustrated in ministry, we're always mad at people.
Right.
So if you're following Jesus, why are you so mad at people?
Because people stink.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things, like even right now being here, I don't want to duplicate effort either, because that's an ego thing. A lot of times someone can be doing something really good, and instead of giving them their props and what they're doing and being like, well, you're doing this really good, you know, you feel like I got to do it and I could do it better. Well, if someone's doing it really good and you have a better way of doing it, why not link up with them, or find out if there's something else that needs to be done that you can do really good that's not being done. You don't have to do it the same way.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, people are planting churches everywhere, right? But not many people are hustling to go to the hood and plant a church. Well, then if there's a need and you see a need, meet a need. And so, you know, I work within reentry. There's a couple of good reentry organizations here in Las Vegas. I don't need to start another reentry organization. So I have to sit back and I have to look, where do I fit in? Where do I fit in this space? And if I don't fit in creating something, then how do I hop in with what they're doing?
Right.
And it's important because a lot of times, again, reaching people, I'm going to make a quick point, 80.
Right.
Reaching people is the most important part. So when I partnered my organization with the Urban League in Atlanta,
Okay.
at the time that I partnered with Urban League, I had only helped 6 people, right? When I got with Urban League in the last 11 years now, I've trained over 3,600 people.
Nice.
Sometimes getting with other people and still remaining true to what you're going to do expands your reach.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, always to that church topic, sometimes I just wonder. I mean, I get doctrine, because sometimes some churches can't jive because of doctrine, and there's certain things they do we don't do. But like sometimes you go on places, there's like 50 churches on one block. You know, like this small church here, small church here, small church. You know, like could there ever be like collaboration of churches and things of that nature? And I know that's a whole nother topic, no whole nother issue. I always wonder that, those possibilities, because I got 10, you got 10. Why can't we just make this 20? And I get it, because I think Brian said it before. He's like, well, somebody's got to be just the co-pastor and assistant. Somebody gotta kind of take a back seat, and
then that goes back to culture and tradition and all of that, because most folks feel like a church has one voice,
right?
So there's a lot to that. But again, you can't win an NBA championship with 5 point guards either.
So they all just passing the ball. They ain't playing,
and that's important too. What you just said is playing your position, playing your role.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I started this church, obviously I was the lead pastor, right? And I was the church planner. But if there's someone else that come in and can do this role in the church, and I know I can roll into the neighborhood and I can do community development and different other things and all these other, why would I want to hold on to this one position when I could do everything else that you can't do?
Right.
Like I can make these connections with people. I can develop. I know how to do sound. I know how to do all these other things. Why would I want to do the one thing that someone else can do? And if I have multi-talents, right? And that's a lot of times though, that's the problem is people don't want to expand their talents, or they feel like it's taken away from who they are. And the truth is it doesn't. Your title does not make you who you are. Your calling makes you who you are. Right. And I think a lot of times, even in business, if we're going to just talk strictly business here, yes, you have to drive everything. And yes, everything's wrapped around your personality, but you have to be willing to extend an olive branch. We have this thing in our community where it's like, Black people can't do business together. I just think that we can't, because when it doesn't go right, it's because of ego. It's because everybody wants to eat the seed versus plant the seed and watch it grow.
Right.
And so, we have to be able to lay ego aside and understand that, hey, we're all going to eat later. But if you eat the seed right now, only you're eating. And so it's important to see a bigger picture and expand that picture, in my opinion.
I attribute that more to trauma than I do to ego, though.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Well, let me say this. What started the trauma? Was it someone's ego that caused that trauma eventually, or? And I get where you're going.
Historically, it wasn't our ego, right? When you come from a place where you come up feeling like so many things have been taken from you,
right.
The minute you feel like you have ownership of something, you don't want to give it up,
right?
And that's a big challenge that we have. And I think that we mislabeled that as ego, but I call it trauma.
That's good thing.
And we have to take a real good look at that, because I believe that we get frustrated with one another, but we never peel the onion back to really understand what the true issue is. Right. That's why people get mad. What you doing on my block? And you don't own a square inch of anything. What do you mean your block?
Right.
We do that. We try to take ownership because we feel like so much has been, we've been robbed of so much. and we automatically, as fathers and stuff, we get bashed with being called controlling and all of that. It's not, when you want order, that's not wanting to be controlling. That's called being a protector. But we mislabel it because everybody wants to own their own fiefdom.
Right.
Everybody wants to control their domain because everybody feels like something has been taken or somebody's trying to take something away from me. Right. One of the greatest challenges between men and women is what drove feminism? Wanting more control. Right. Because women feel like so much has been taken from them. So we have to really, really understand what the fundamental issue is, what the core of the issue is, so that we can properly label stuff, so that we can have some real conversations. And I think it's going to make things a whole lot better for all of us, because I really don't believe, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of ego out there. But I believe what's driving that is a different issue.
That's a good point. Very good.
Yeah.
I have white guy buddies that have egos the size of the Christ. Yeah. And see, that's human nature.
And a lot of times it's just feeling as if, where's your identity? I think that's where it comes down to. Where's your identity? And the reason why your ego gets so much bigger is it, a lot of times people make a little money and they finally feel confident enough to talk to a girl, right? They finally feel like they can go out and be the man or whatever. But the reality is, deep inside of you, you're still a little scared little boy. I'm just kidding. but
the
no,
truth is,
honestly,
but to your point though, Thomas, but that's not a bar that man set. That's a bar that somebody else set that you're trying to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So how can you feel secure about something that you didn't even set for yourself? You're trying to live vicariously through someone else's expectations. So how can you ever feel secure in that? That's like chasing the wind. You can never be satisfied because people's expectations will always change. But
this is a work that we all have to do anyways. I mean, I hadn't always been the person that's like, I can take a step back and let someone else lead and I can support and follow and everything. That's maturity. Right. And I think a lot of times as we walk through maturity and we walk through life, it's one of those things where, we engage people differently. We see the value of people. If we realize that everybody's coming to the table with something to offer, then as leaders, you have to bring the best out of them and put them in a position and play your role the best. And a lot of times we don't want to play the role that makes it seem like we're not leading or we're not up front. And the reality is, put that aside. Mm-hmm. There's different parts that have to be played.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But I think, open-hearted communication is the key, man. We've got to get over ourselves. And it's a tough lesson. It really, really is. I'm still learning it myself. Get over yourself. I think I said this a couple of years back. I had to learn to rebuke Brian.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Stop watching them Cowboys. But no, I think we could have like many conversations about this, because when you start thinking about ego and laying aside ego, there's another thing that we have to realize is like, are we sacrificing financial stability? Is someone benefiting off of our work and they're able to financially be secure, but here I am struggling and it's off my back that you're getting this, and then how many things go into that thought, and you can go down a whole rabbit hole that just boosts not only just your ego, but your anger. Yes. And, if you boost that anger and you go into doing these things upset, but you're like, no, I'm good. You're really living this fantasy out, and it becomes a big frustration, which ultimately hinders the way you interact with people and with God. So
yeah.
Rod said something great. He said, we also never want to sacrifice. We need to learn when to sacrifice. In collaboration, there must be sacrifice. That's good. That's good stuff. All right. All right. We appreciate you guys.
The only team worse than the Cowboys are the Jets. because the Jets went out and tried to get everybody and still look worse.
Well,
When collaboration goes wrong.
When collaboration goes wrong.
Well, in the last 30 years, I'm pretty sure the Cowboys have done the same thing. They just
no. The difference is the Cowboys don't make moves.
Yeah, that's true. They toilet moves. Anyways, I'm gonna lay off your Cowboys though. I just, yeah.
Poor Cowboys. They can't catch a break.
Hey,
One day, Brian.
The Cowboys prove that they are America's team because we get more attention than everybody.
So I want to talk about no Jet slander.
Well, and here's something cool though, Brian. When they finally do win something, you're like, I told you so. I told you.
If the Cowboys are ever on top, I won't say a word.
Right.
I won't have to.
Listen, you have it bottled up. You don't know it's there until it happens.
You don't know it's there.
It's like you don't want to see me when I'm angry, kind of thing.
I gotta jump, you guys. Y'all take care.
We appreciate you guys. Listen, thank you guys for rocking with us. Another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Continue to stay connected. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. I appreciate you guys for always supporting and being a part. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, Freestyle Friday. Tonight, make sure you text us, LWN to 84576. The ladies will be on as well at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So check them out. And as always, 988, if you or someone you love is having a mental health crisis, make sure you dial 988 and know that we love you. Jesus loves you better. Stay safe, make good choices, and we will see you in the AM. Peace out.